Sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree? I travel the world from the 7 seas. Everybody's looking for something.
It's good, man.
Yeah.
You're too young for that song. How do you know that song?
I just hear it on the work radio all the time. They've remixed it plenty of times. So
they're remixing it all kinds. I guess the last version that was ever made was Marilyn Manson did a version of it.
Right on. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm old enough to know the original from Rhythmix and
80s,
Lennox, right?
Yeah.
That kind of thing, right?
Sure.
So, Patrick, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thanks
you having me, man.
Yeah, I haven't had this closet conversation, man.
For sure.
So I'm looking forward to this.
It's good to hear.
You're going to dive deep into this whole world of closets that you deal with clients all the time?
Yeah, of course. I'll do what I can. I've been doing it for 10 years, so I kind of know the ins and outs.
Started it in closets?
Yep, started in closets. I've kind of branched off, so we do like full kitchens and pantries,
so you can do that as well,
stuff like that. Yeah, don't really advertise for it, but if a client, like a past client, wants it as a referral or they want some other work done, we'll kind of venture. Nice. It's just a lot more work involved, different trades, so we try to just stick with what we used to, right? So
kind of nice that you guys at started and didn't have any water to deal with,
right?
But now you're getting into water and tile and.
Yeah, you get your foot in the door, and then you wet your feet a bit.
Ask.
Exactly, yeah.
That's how it is, right? So let me share the information. Patrick Johnson's here from YourCloset.ca, www.YourCloset.ca, and the phone number to reach them is 647-478-8908, and email to reach them is info@YourCloset.ca, and all over social media, IG, Facebook, and TikTok, it's all under YourCloset.ca. Let me do a quick shout out. I've got Carlo, your t-shirt, Kohler Generators. I'm wearing his t-shirt today, which is good. Unleash your voice on the Construction Life podcast community. Are you passionate about the world of construction, trades, and all things building related? The Construction Life podcast wants to hear from you. Leave us a review, share your thoughts, insights, and experiences on your favorite podcast channel. Your review fuels our mission to create engaging and informative content for the construction community. Your feedback is a mortar that holds our podcast together. So share your thoughts, rate us, and let the construction community know why The Construction Life is your go-to podcast. Visit our website and check out the over 400 tradespeople and construction professionals listed on our site. Check out www.theconstructionlife.com for additional content, behind-the-scenes exclusives, and valuable resources. Dive deeper into the construction world with articles, guest profiles, and more. Follow us on social at @TCL_The Construction Life. Subscribe to our video channels on YouTube and Rumble. Check out our link tree and find exclusive discounts for listeners. The link is in the IG bio. Join the conversation on Facebook, the Construction Life community. And if you got a swag, I'll totally bust it and I'll wear it on a future show, right? So
I'll ship one in too.
Just give me an extra large. Don't give me a large or a medium. It'd just be too tight, right?
Sounds good.
That's it. So where do you want to begin? Patrick, where do you want to start? 10 years ago you started. How young are you, man?
10 years ago, so I'm 33 now.
Okay.
So started fairly young in the trades.
Right out of the gate?
Yeah. My dad's a handyman, so I kind of learned off the tools and stuff like that from him, and then I kind of ventured on my own. But you get your feet wet, you learn mistakes here and there, you get experience, and that's what you become nowadays, right?
And closets nowadays are, every kid's got a walk-in closet now.
Right. Yeah, with the sizes of houses now, yeah.
Every parent has a massive closet now. You're getting closets, walk-in closets that have windows and skylights. And
the sizes of bedrooms and stuff, so the possibilities are endless, right? There's different variations of colors, designs. You can do islands, so there's a lot of different options involved.
But you're also, you're not afraid of doing a standard 2x5 door.
Reach-in closet. Yeah.
Reach-in.
So we do, there's no job too small, too big, so we kind of entertain everything. Mm-hmm. But it definitely makes the clients a lot more functionality-wise, gives them a lot more open doors and stuff like that. Even the smallest reach-in closet helps out to have a bit more organization instead of the standard builder rod and shelf.
I was about to say,
not maximizing the
is that on
height,
the list there? Do you offer the standard rod and shelf? No. You don't.
We rip those out. They go in the garbage. We don't even.
Those things are made with offcuts, and they probably always have to buy the dowel.
Exactly.
Like the rod, right? It's always a wood one as well, right?
No, nowadays they'll use the adjustable.
Oh yeah.
Steel one that kind of hangs over the cleats and then you screw down, but it's all junk because you're wasting all that space. Yeah. So that's the first thing we do is just come out, rip it out, and then install our new system.
They build the little triangle at the very end and one in the middle if it's long enough or whatever, right?
Exactly.
But that's like such a wasted space of
for sure
any closet, right?
Because you've got like 5 feet above and then maybe 3 feet under, right? So you can you only hang so many long objects that you can obtain, right? Long dresses and stuff like that. The rest is kind of just wasted space. So
since you're here, Is there a perfect formula for a closet, or is it literally based off of each person, whoever's room it is?
It usually is tailored to their personality and what they would want to be used for. Some clients like to store on shelves as opposed to hang, so some clients like to hang more than shelves. It's kind of vice versa, but usually a reach-in closet is kind of standard. We'll have like a shelving tower in the middle and then double hang on both sides, and then we can alternate, add some options like
what
drawers.
about long hanging?
Yeah, so yeah, if we can incorporate a small little section for long hang if they would require, but again, it does eat into your double hang space. So a lot of clients would have like a spare bedroom or so that they would kind of offset their long hang into there, and then that way we can just make sure the priorities and their master, so they're not bouncing around different rooms and stuff like that. Because again, it's seasonal for long hang. Yeah. So you're not using it as a everyday day-to-day basis.
But you could always you always put 2 shelves on the top, right? I never understood why they would only put 1 shelf and then you would stack things on top of each other.
Right. Yeah. We usually leave 12 inches from the ceiling, so that way you can still store totes, boxes, and bins and seasonal stuff and objects like that. And then that way you're just maximizing the full utilization of the height, right? So
do you ever get into renovating the opening? Because I can't stand builder grade closets that give you 1 24-inch door to access a 2x5 reach-in closet.
In that case, a lot of clients would want to have like a full built-in aspect where we would cut out the bulkhead and then have it flush with the wall and everything like that. Yeah. It is a bit more labor intensive, but it gives it a nicer look. The only thing is, depending on the size of the room, because they're cabinet doors, they kind of obstruct. So if your bed is close to where the reach-in closet used to be, or your night table or something like that, it does tend to impede if you were to install a full built system. Because it gives it a nicer look and finish, and then it looks a bit more premium when you have that installed, right? As opposed to having a interior door and then you have the 2 like 12 inches on the sides, so it's harder to access into the corners. So it does offer a better versatility if you were to do the full built-in, but again, it comes down to the client's perspective and budget and what they're looking to actually accomplish.
Are you seeing more, I guess, of the new construction where they're not even incorporating closets at all? And then they want you to come in to actually give them a piece of furniture to put into that area. So then you save the space of the wall and the door and everything like that.
Yeah, so there has been a couple homes that I've worked in there is no closet installed. It's just I work with a blank canvas, and then I have to just make a built-in unit just to kind of incorporate into the room instead of having for them to frame it out and then build a closet and stuff like that. So it is an option that's been coming along.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer going that route, or is it? I don't know. I feel like I'm the traditionalist, where I feel that there should be a separate room that's a closet, so then it has a door or 2 doors, and that's the area.
It really depends. I prefer doing the built-in. Just it's better for the portfolio when I take pictures and stuff like that. Because again, a reach-in closet only so much, and then I've done thousands of them. Right? They all look the same. So in terms of portfolio aspect and in that sense, I do prefer doing the built-in units. But again, it's all based on the layout of the room and what they're looking to actually achieve, right? So,
what's the biggest closet you ever tackled that a client?
Probably like you were saying,
size of a garage.
I would say so. Yeah, maybe a 12 by 12 kind of room, and then we do full built-ins all the way around. This was a custom home in Oakville that we did by the water, right?
And was it able to store everything that they wanted to fit in there?
Oh, and ample storage.
Oh, so there was plenty of space
left
over?
Course,
okay, I thought that maybe they filled it all up.
No, that gave them an excuse to go shopping, right? So, but it came out nice. We did like a flat panel, just so it's not too. I know you're not a fan of shaker and stuff like that. I wasn't gonna bring it up.
Bring it up, man. Listen, you bring it up. I saw your page, I saw your post and everything like that, and I know that clients are asking for that shaker look.
The thing is,
which is great,
right? A lot of clients they're scared to go kind of off trend, so they won't want to commit to like a different color, because I wouldn't do a flat panel white because it kind of looks it tends to be a bit cheap. I would go with like a mocha light gray finish.
But with the veneers that are going on today, like I'm assuming where you get the material from, there's like
with wood grains and stuff.
I was recently at Richelieu and I was like going, this is beautiful, right. And then my this is beautiful eyes were walking along to all these different panels, and I'm like, okay, so what's the cost of this? You goes, you don't even want to know.
Right.
And it was getting as high as like $2,500 for one sheet of this panel, this style.
Yeah, it tends to get up there. There's some cheaper kind of wood grains you can get into, but again, the clients are scared to commit because it's kind of, it might be trendy is what they're feeling, so they just usually go the safe route, just going like a white shaker. that's what I would recommend instead of just going like a flat panel, right? So
what I like is that what you guys do is that you guys are, I like, first of all, you can see that it's customizable for the client.
Exactly.
So you know that you had a conversation with the client, whether that's the husband, wife, daughter, son, whatever it was, right? Like you knew what they were asking for. What I don't want to see is a closet that's just pretty for the sake of being pretty.
Exactly.
That drawer, that whatever I hang, the rod or whatever, has a purpose.
Right.
It should be doing that, right?
Yeah.
So
because again, it's to their functionality and convenience, right?
Yeah.
It's always going to be tailored to what their day use is going to be. So I always like to get a feel of what the customer is going through, and then I walk through my customers from first to start to finish. So I'm at the consultation stage, the design stage. So we do 3D mock-ups and rendering, so that way they can see an actual visual of how the product will come out.
Yeah.
And then that way it's just cohesive throughout the whole planning stage, right? So if they wanted to make tweaks after they get those mock-ups, then we can do it and change something here, something there. And then that way it's just catered to what they feel like their use would be for, right?
I've seen, like, there's all kinds of bells and whistles in your industry, right?
Right.
And it's just growing and growing and growing.
For sure.
Which is great. But I'm also seeing a lot of very impractical ideas.
Right.
Like right off the bat, my argument is hampers. Pull out hampers. Mm-hmm. They're too small.
They're too small and they take up quite a bit of space, because this bag itself is only 14 inches deep, right?
You can fit what? 3 or 4
three sweaters,
and that's it.
and that's it.
Then you're done.
I agree. Yeah. So
then you're going to take that out anyway, and you're going to go to the laundry at that point.
For sure. Yeah.
So just like there's some, and I as much as it's so nice to have the little pull out and have the pleated pants and just like, I just find it's like a little
I find that as well. Yeah. I don't usually recommend the accessories and stuff to my clients. It's only if they request it, because again, I find it's a waste of space, and then it's not as versatile in the future. If you wanted to move stuff around or change your layout, you're kind of limited to like that belt rack or the pants rack, like you were saying. And then that way you can only have those little rods that you're restricted to, right? So there is a vast amount of options, like even the rotating shoe shelves and stuff like that. It takes
so your opinion on that, because I saw it the other day and I've seen it before.
Right.
I'm on the fence. It kind of makes sense. You can fit more items in a shorter period, like smaller space. But is it a yay or nay on that point?
The problem is it takes up, because of the size of the bedrooms, you don't have
that space.
The bedrooms like in the States, right? Where they have huge homes. So you're going to be losing 3 by 3 in a corner just to accommodate that shoe tower, right? I don't know how many people have that amount of shoes to be wanting to dedicate that space to it.
This is Canada, not the U.S. The
Exactly.
U.S. loves walking into their homes with footwear on.
Of course.
Canadians don't like
It's
walking
a different
into
culture.
it's a different idea, right?
Yeah.
Whatever reason, somebody else can psychoanalyze that to death, but I just find Americans walking with shoes, the Canadians don't walk in with shoes.
I've noticed that as well.
Right?
That's
So,
true.
and I guess the Americans park their shoes up in the bedroom. I think Canadians park their shoes down on the main floor when they're getting ready to leave. And that's why they have a mirror by the front door, by the side door, or whatever they're going to get. Because they got to put the footwear on to figure out how it's going to work with the outfit. Then they can see themselves before they go. But as far as I know, nobody wants to walk around with their footwear upstairs in the bedroom areas.
Right. I agree. Yeah. It's a different culture, a different way to look at it. And then again, they have the size of the homes to accommodate. So
what do the Europeans do?
Are
they
that's
footwear
a good question.
on?
I haven't really ventured into
Caribbean?
that. I'm not too sure.
What are they?
Caribbean, yeah, more they wear their shoes.
They wear their shoes on, but then they're dealing with mostly stone, tile.
Exactly,
floors.
I was about to say they don't really usually have flooring or carpet and stuff like that because of the climate. They usually just have concrete or tile, like you were saying, right? So it's very easy to clean in that sense. But yeah, I never understood the culture of wearing your shoes throughout the house. It doesn't.
You know how you change that culture? It's really simple. Just like walk around the city and just discover what exactly is on the sidewalks and the roadways and the stores, and that's what's on your footwear.
Exactly.
Now walk that footwear into your house now.
Yeah, a lot of people don't think of it, but that's the way you got to.
I think about it all the time.
Yep.
Take the public transit and get on the public transit.
Oh, no way.
Footwear is going to stay on the main floor.
For sure.
But okay, so you got any interesting things that clients have asked you to incorporate regarding? I guess that's the room that maybe a client might ask for a safe or a hidden storage.
Yeah, usually they'll just want space allocated and they'll have their unit and then secure it down into the cabinetry or whatever it is. So I'll just kind of work around the specs that they gave me, but not quite often, right? Because I'll have like one client had a big gun safe, right? So so I kind of incorporated around the cabinetry to make it so it's concealed and everything. So that way it's not as conspicuous, but you open a cabinet door and then you open the safe door, kind of get to it, and then That way, that's that there. But nothing really too obscure that I would come to the back of my memory. Like you were saying, the laundry hampers, sometimes you'll have the fold out ironing boards and stuff like that.
See, that's the other one, the tilt forward laundry hamper.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one either.
Yeah, they have a tilt, and then they have one that slides on a ball bearing track. The problem is the one with the slide out, the pull out, you can't put a door on it because there's no mechanism to screw. So you always see it, right? That's the thing, right? But again, the tilt down is very restricted on what you can actually use.
I guess you have
storing.
a slightly bigger bag on the tilt down one.
Yep.
But I don't know if that works. And then I never understood the hanging the ties.
Right.
Like the drawer is kind of nice, and you coil the ties, right?
I agree.
That's an idea.
Because you can always get the dividers and then just have them
and then pop them in, and that makes sense.
Yep.
And then the other thing that I don't see a lot of, and I think there should be, are mirrors. Quickly turn digital measurements into efficient gains for your business. With iGuide, you can turn around DWG floor plans within 48 hours, easily share project files with partners, and create 3D walkthroughs for your clients. Stop struggling with inaccurate measurements, manual processes, and inefficient project planning and collaboration. Discover how you can boost productivity and cut costs with a virtual demo. Visit www.goiguide.com/AEC to connect with an iGuide specialist.
That's true.
It should be in closets at that point, because you should already pull it off and then hold it against yourself to see if this is what's going to work for you today.
Right.
Instead of having to get out of the room, go to a mirror, which might be in the bedroom, might be in the hallway, or might be in the bathroom.
Sometimes we'll install like a mirror on a blank wall, or I'll have like a frameless mirror door on the actual cabinetry itself.
Yeah.
So it serves as a full length mirror in that sense. Other times, or you'll have like a niche where they'll have their jewelry and stuff like that, where an opening is there, and we'll just put an insert for a mirror there. I know like Richelieu and the suppliers, they have
the pull-out mirror,
and then it turns, right?
Yeah, but it's like, I don't need the back of my haircut to look at size mirror. You know what I mean?
Right on.
I need a proper mirror.
Full length, yeah. You can only see from probably your shirt up.
Exactly. That's why I don't think those mirrors make sense. They solve half the problem.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And what I've always done is that I hate single doors and reach-ins or even walk-ins.
I agree.
And I do double doors, and I'll always park a mirror on both sides.
Yep.
So then all of a sudden you can stand right in the middle of the opening and you can see front and back.
On each of the door. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
And I took that from what? Dressing rooms and retail environment.
Right.
Every dressing room in a retail environment has that. So you can see front and back.
Exactly.
So it's like I go back to start paying attention to what's being done in commercial applications.
Right.
Bring it home.
Yeah, because it's cohesive. It works hand in hand, right? So that way it kind of works in both ways. I agree.
Well, why is everybody on social media getting so kind of crazy about showing off their closets? Like, I'm talking about big time celebrities, and now it's getting filtered down to regular folk. Right. And you start seeing like shoes being on display and backlit and on an angle as if it's an
like a showcase. Or, yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on here, man? Like hats. Like I've had clients ask me, can you make a whole hat? I had with one client, purses, backlit.
I could see that, yeah. Because, that's their prized possession, right?
But
so they want to show it off.
Here's the funny thing, though. The person I was dating at the time, she passed by to take a look at the job, and she could care less about the whole job. The whole job was nice, but she was really fascinated by the purses. But she told me which ones were fake. And I'm like, I don't know anything about this.
Just at a glance.
And she said, women know this thing, man. Right. Like, I just don't get it. Like, they were all brand name purses.
Right.
And they were all beautifully backlit, right? And she was like, I know which ones are fake. And I'm like, what do you mean they're fake? And I didn't even really care that much about it, but you're showing off something that wasn't legit or whatever. But she was like, I can tell you which one is fake. And that was what she took away from that site visit.
That's the one thing she brought out of it.
I'm like, great, but the cabinetry was great. Everything was great. But everyone's highlighting these things now, these features and all kinds of stuff where it's like, I grew up on a rod and a shelf.
Yeah, exactly.
We all.
Just the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And now you got people wanting to show everything off, right? So that's what
good
it
for
comes
you.
down to.
It's good for business.
Yeah, it helps out.
Now you can be creative and you can try ideas. You can present new ideas.
Exactly.
And then get a sense of it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
How long does a project normally take you?
Usually,
from the time you meet the client and start coming up with, I guess, their parameters.
From when I go to have a consult, it's usually about 3 weeks. So I'll have the consult. I'll do the design aspect in maybe 2-3 days within that aspect. And then usually 2 weeks from then, we'll have the installation date booked in. And then usually it's a day or a few days install, depending on the size of the job, right? Like a standard walk-in closet or a reach-in closet would be a half day, 1 day job kind of in that sense. If we're doing a whole house, it might be 2 days.
Yeah.
Right, because there's a lot more involved, and then the material, bringing it in, everything, stuff like that. So.
Well, you're doing, I guess, average home, 4-bedroom. So you would do the 3 kids' bedrooms. You do the master bedroom. Then there's also, I guess, the front closet.
Yeah, like
mudroom area.
If we're doing just a standard kind of system, just working within the closets, like your reach-in closets and the walk-in closets and stuff like that, usually about a day and a half would be a full installation, in and out. And then that would be based on them prepping the closets beforehand, right? So removing, I usually would recommend my clients to remove the old existing system just so they have the time to paint and patch and stuff like that beforehand.
Okay.
So that way.
But you offer that as well too, or?
I do offer that as a service as well. Yeah. So I have another sub that I have that would be able to just make it easier for their aspect, and just a white glove service, right? So that way they don't have to worry about anything.
So 10 years ago, you're a kid. You're still a kid today, but 10 years ago, you're a kidder. Why'd you want to get into this industry, this part?
To be honest, I kind of just fell into it. I had a customer service background. Like, I worked at a car rental company and a restaurant before. So that kind of helps transfer into this industry as well, because a lot of my clients have reflected to me that I'm very calm, and my customer service is A tier and stuff like that. So it does transfer, and it shows in your work, right? Because you want your client to be happy at the end of the day, right? So because you want the referrals, and you got to keep your reputation as well at the end of the road as well. So yeah, I kind of just fell into the industry as a whole, and then I started out as a helper at another company, and then I was liking the ways of the work and being self-employed and stuff like that, and then kind of just transferred onto my own, and then you work your way up and build your own clientele, your network, and it's kind of been it's nice because I have a creative aspect on every job.
Yeah.
Usually every job is a bit different in that sense, like you were saying, they have their personal tastes and stuff like that, and then there's different finishes, so it's not really boring and mundane as doing like a regular, just nitty gritty everyday job that you're just doing the same thing as a robot. Yeah. So it kind of helps in that aspect, just the creativity aspect. You're doing different objects every day. So
how are you doing all your sales? I guess is it mostly becoming word of mouth now, and you're doing some marketing?
I would say, yeah, most of my jobs now are because I've established my reputation. I've created my own network. So a lot of it is just from word of mouth and referrals. And before, when I was first starting out, I was starting out with door hangers and flyers and stuff like that. But I find the physical marketing doesn't really reach as much as online presence.
Yeah, everyone's online. Your clients are online.
It's all based on social media nowadays. I did play around with Google Ads back then, but it didn't work? Too much return now, because there's a lot of competition in terms of the ranking high. Yeah. So you got to pay a lot just to get the leads, and then it does help out when you're first starting out, because you need to get your foot in the door and then create your aspect of client basis on that sense. But as of lately, it's just been word of mouth. Like, I have another client I'm going to after here that I've done maybe 4 of their different homes, right? So it just kind of just transfers and carries with you, right? So
how's the business growing ever since you started it? Every year over, I guess you can't. I don't want you to factor in the pandemic years, right?
Well, it's been busier during the pandemic, right? I'm sure it's been.
Everyone realizes that things weren't working for them.
Yeah, but now with the interest rate hikes, it's kind of slowed down a bit, and with the holidays and everything, I've talked to a lot of other trades. They're saying the same thing that they're seeing as well.
That's norm.
But you just kind of, like, if you're in the ropes, you're self-employed, you just kind of have something set aside just to carry you over with those down spurts and stuff like that. You got to get creative in different ways you can advertise and get marketing, just so that way you can just kind of keep at it, and then don't give up, and then that way you'll just see yourself through at the end of the day, right?
You still on the tools, or you handling?
Oh, yeah. I do everything from start to finish.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And then how many guys you got working with you?
I got 2 guys in the shop that do all my cutting, and then I'll prepare everything. Like, I'll build the cabinetry in the shop myself as well, and then I'll have maybe 2 or 3 helpers I'll have on call that for bigger jobs that I need a hand with, just to help me bring the material in, and then I'll be okay from there usually.
Don't worry about it. It was like, I don't know why.
Yeah, it's all good. It doesn't concern me.
It reminds me of the earlier days when we were doing this show, and we were doing it like in Skylux's workshop, and it was like forklifts being backed up in the background, and I was like, hey, like, there's construction going on, the construction, like,
that's what I'm saying.
Normally
it falls
quiet.
Right in line.
Yeah, it's quiet. It's like, it's not a filter. There's no filter on this show. It's like, we didn't put that sound there.
Some sound effects.
There'd be a lot more curse words if that was the case, right? If it was a real construction site, there'd be a shitload of curse words.
For sure.
No, I like what you're doing. I like what you're building and how you're seeing it. Are you prepared for it to grow? Like you ready, starting to plan how that's going to move?
That's one thing I'm kind of stuck right now with, because I know a lot of my clients have told me once you start to scale, the kind of workmanship starts to go down. So that's what I'm afraid
the balance, right?
But I know at some point I won't be able to do this forever because you're paying and stuff like that with the labor. So I find like if you get a good guy, you gotta see past their skill, their ability to perform, right? You got to see the characteristics of them, as long as they're hard worker, work ethic, and they're trustworthy. Because again, we're working clients' homes; they live there, right? They have their valuables and stuff like that. So at a point, I find I will need to scale and start to hire some people to work under me and train. But right now, I'm just trying to go as far as I can, as long as I can, just to kind of keep it.
But business
intimate.
is good, though, right?
Yeah.
So you see, I like that you've taken a niche. It's a niche within a niche. Like
Exactly.
It's just like not everybody thinks about this, because I'm assuming even in new builds that you're going into, they still have the classic whatever.
Yep.
And then they're realizing, well, there's so much more potential here, and that's where you come in and you start offering ideas for them.
Exactly. And there will be.
Sorry, you're doing custom for them.
Exactly. Yeah. There will be times I work with custom builders as well. So if the client is interested in getting a custom closet built out, they'll just kind of bring me in just to have an aspect of having the design and stuff like that, just before they even bother putting the shelf and rod, because it doesn't make sense to do that if they're just looking for a solution that's ready to go turnkey before they even take the possession of the home, right? So
what's your closet look like?
my closet's, that's the thing, right?
No, don't tell me shoemaker. Really?
No, it's just bare minimum, right?
Bare minimum, that's what I mean.
It's like a mechanic, right? You're working on cars, but your own car is neglected.
I don't know, outfit, no?
No, it's true. On your downtime, that's the best time to do it.
Oh, the downtime's coming, the holidays.
Exactly. So,
right? So
yeah,
there's an opportunity.
might be time. I got to also do my mom's kitchen as well. That's kind of been on the back burner.
Yeah, family always gets way back on the burner because they don't pay. That's why. So if they don't pay, you get pushed on the list. I don't give a shit, right?
The bills come first, right?
I already got clients that don't pay, so I don't have to deal with family that don't pay.
Right.
Right. And so it's just like that shit will get done when it eventually gets done. But they can always press you, right?
Yeah. Time comes when the time comes around, right? You got to get around to it when you can, right?
I'm trying to figure out what other, like, what do you think is a good looking closet for you? Like that hasn't been, we can argue the shaker. Everyone wants shaker because it's nice and safe, but I'm sure that you guys scroll through and see other kinds of closets. And I'm not talking the ultra rich closets, right? I'm talking about stuff that is attainable in a typical home. What do you like seeing?
For a full built-in, like I like the white oak finish on the exterior of the closets, and then there's one job we'll be also doing. It's not really white oak; it's more of a walnut exterior finish.
Yeah,
and we're also incorporating lighting inside the units and everything with the LED strips. So it's going to be a nice unit when it's all finished up.
How are you connecting the lights? I guess when you turn on the closet light itself when you walk in, it's
their contractors. The electrician is going to be tapping it into a switch, so they'll have an individual light switch on the actual.
That's kind of
bedroom.
nice.
Yeah, it'll look good. Yeah, with the Lutron and stuff like that. So everything's came a long way, right?
There's lots of bells and whistles now, lots of options now, right?
For sure.
So I mean, I even got light behind my sign here.
But it helps. It's right? Nice, right?
It's a little detail, right?
Exactly.
That's all it is. Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense at that point.
But in this particular application, they only have one ceiling light, right?
Normally.
So they can't do pot lights because
they normally put the boob light.
Exactly.
The one little housing on this. Yeah.
Right. And then there's only so many aftermarket or on the market lights that you can get that'll illuminate the whole room, but then the closet itself, when you open the doors, it's still dark in there. So that's why the LED lighting will kind of help out and then make it easier to see what you're looking at, right?
Yeah, totally. And then you're also saying that, so you're getting into mudrooms, you're getting into kitchens now, you're getting into other opportunities. What else are you getting into?
Pantries. It's all more or less the same line of cabinetry, so it all falls in line, right? So it's more or less the same kind of industry. It's
all functional cabinetry.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, all cabinetry is supposed to be functional.
Storage solutions around the homes, right?
Yeah, that's what it says, right?
So, yeah, there's a lot of nice mudroom projects we've done with a little bench, fabric, cushion, with some storage below, and then we'll do a beadboard on the back with the hooks and stuff like that, with a nice tall, full-length pantry beside it, with your storage for coats and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've done my share of those, man. It takes a long time. It's always custom.
Exactly.
And it takes a long time.
Right.
That's all. And then it's always, you got to explain it to the client, show them a drawing, show them a sketch. This is what I was thinking about. And you always make enough cubbies based on how many kids they have.
Exactly.
Then you have that conversation with the client about, we might get pregnant again. Well, it's not we. It's one person gets pregnant. But yeah, I'm fine. Are you guys going to get pregnant again? Let me know. I'll make a fourth. cubby, right?
Right.
So you have all these, but that's what I like about your neck of the industry, where it's like it's extremely customizable, functional work
To the particular client's
it
needs
has
and
to
aspects.
be, right? But I guess, is there ever a conversation about we're going to sell the property and we don't know who's going to move in here?
There is. So that's where clients will go a bit more safe, where it's more versatile for someone that's moving in. So they don't want it too personalized where they want it attached to themselves. They'll look towards the future for resale value as well, right? So they'll want like a his and hers aspect instead of just a whole hers closet, just so that it kind of transfers. Because the truth is, you never know. An opportunity might come. You need to sell and move off, move up, downgrade, whatever it is. So you always have to have that in the back of your mind as well, right? So
You ever get clients who are like, we might take it with us? Is that a conversation that happens?
It can work in some applications. The problem is the space. It might not transfer because I'm sure you know floor plans are completely different. So whether you need to remove one section of the actual cabinetry itself or add another, it's usually not worth the hassle to transfer it over. It's always better to just include it in the sale price that you're selling the home for.
Yeah.
And then that way you'll just do a new built-in unit wherever you're going. And then you can start from fresh, and maybe there's different things you didn't see beforehand that you see a need for now where you can change in the new design, right? So that way it'll help in the future.
Using digital platforms in our industry is becoming more common, especially among the young folks, because it improves efficiency, prevents mistakes, and overall makes our lives as contractors easier. This is why we partnered with Connect Team, a platform built to manage, train, and communicate with your team. Connect Team's desktop version gives managers a live overview of the business to track work hours, create schedules, make sure the business meets compliance, and so much more. Employees just download the app to their mobile to clock in and out, share safety reports, and get updates all in one place, ensuring they've got what they need to perform at their best. Connect Team has a free plan and a 14-day free trial. Try them today by checking out the link in the show notes. Let me pop quiz time.
Sure.
Let me give you a scenario and see I want to get your opinion on something. Let's say you've got a room, an area for a walk-in closet. I'm going to say it's 12 feet wide.
Okay.
Doesn't matter how long it is because it's like you're walking into it, but it's 12 feet wide.
Right.
The original idea is to put reach-ins on both sides.
Okay.
Right? Not, I guess not reach-ins, just all cabinetry that you can open up and then you can access on both sides, right? How much space do you need to allow yourself in front of these open up cabinetry areas and still fit a seating bench in the middle so you can try stuff on and sit down or hang stuff there? What's the minimum amount of space before you can, and then decide what's the minimum size you can make that bench in the middle? So if you got 12 feet,
right,
you're losing 24 inches, I guess.
Yep.
So you're losing 4 feet. Now you got 8 feet left. How much space do you need in front of each of those, and what size bench will that become?
So typically the standard principle of a kitchen, like a chef's kitchen, is 36 inches of depth. So
it's tight at 36.
You
I know
find it's
you're
tight,
talking about
yeah?
it. I find it's tight.
Okay, so
I think it should always be 42, but
okay,
you can get away with 36.
I see.
Yeah.
So that's usually a guideline that we would follow before intermeeting with another unit in front of it, just as a obstruction. But if you're saying 42, I'll take that into consideration in the future.
So if you go 2 feet, you're left with 8. And now let's go argument's sake, we'll go 3 feet.
Right.
So you're left with 2. So that bench becomes 2 feet now.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Where it can be a bench or an island, whatever.
An island. Right? It could be another storage area.
And then
it could be a top dresser or something like that.
Exactly.
So you can access it. Yes.
And the benefit is because everything is custom, we don't necessarily need to have a 2-foot island. We can go a bit shallower just to accommodate that clearance of space you need to service and operate around the actual island itself, right?
Okay. Would you still keep it 36 inches on both sides if it's not a walk-in closet, it's a walk-through closet?
If it's a walk-through, like say to a bathroom, if that's the case, like a hallway kind of idea and you have cabinetry on both sides, I wouldn't put anything in the middle.
You would leave, but then now it starts to look very, very big of an opening, right? And you got nothing to put anything down when you're accessing the closets area.
I see what you're saying. But you're still basing off that 12 feet of...
It's still 12 feet. That's what I'm saying, is that's where the dilemma is, where it's like, it's 12 feet, 2 feet is consumed by the sides.
Right.
You give yourself the 3 feet on either side, so now you're left with 2 feet, but you put a bench or some sort of unit in the middle, but you're walking through to go to the bathroom now. You have to walk around this bench to get to the bathroom. Would you still put the bench there? You wouldn't put the bench there, right?
I personally wouldn't, because with your eye, you don't want to see an object or anything.
But then now you got 8 feet of space.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Well, that's the case where we can do a corner unit on the side, right? Because we're working with the widths. If you're looking straight ahead,
the openings are literally enough space to give yourself the 2 feet on either side.
Okay.
You'd have to decrease the opening to go into the bathroom
to make a narrow door to access. Yeah. I mean, a little small bench would make sense because it's not like tall, like an island per se. Just so that way you can sit down, and then maybe you'll have full length mirrors on the either end of it, just so that way
was
you
the
can
idea.
Kind of see that would work.
Yeah,
I would entertain a bench, but not an island.
The problem is that what I'm trying to get at is do you fit the bench? Maybe not 24. Maybe you go 16. You treat it like a museum bench,
right?
Like a cushion that you're sitting there and you're looking at a painting or something like that. But I think you need something there to access the closet, to sit down or access the closet, and maybe it's a pull-out rod that you can hang certain things on that bench end or something.
Right.
But you're functionally using that bench for a purpose. But then when you want to travel to the bathroom, you have to go around the bench, whether it's right or left, and then access the bathroom and then come back into the bedroom area.
But in your point with it being a bench, I don't think it would be too much of an instruction,
okay.
But it would be nice to have just for convenience. Because
right?
again, if we want to lie something down when you're taking stuff out of your closet, just to set your outfit together, I think it would be a good idea.
Because I mess around with something and I'm just like thinking, I'm not a huge fan of huge walk-in closets and you're walking into a certain area. I'd rather have a walk-through closet. And that was
it's more
layout.
flowy.
Yeah,
I agree too, and it's airy. It's not just kind of close off and claustrophobic.
Because you would make it look almost furniture-like. It would be like a white oak. It wouldn't be a white shaker or anything like that. It'd be white oak, so it'd look like nice cabinetry.
Exactly.
And even if you wanted to, you can do certain panels in a frosted glass or something like that. So then you can kind of see what cabinet has what.
Yeah.
But you're the homeowner. You already know what's what.
Exactly.
At that point, I guess it's when you're selling it, you can decide on what you want to do, right?
Right on. Yeah.
That's all. I just wanted to pick your brain about that one.
No, it's a good point to bring up because, again, that's where creativity comes into play, right? So because you still need to keep that in mind, that transporting into the bathroom and not kind of making an eyesore right in the middle of your walk space, right? So
it's the same thing with, I have a problem sometimes with some large closets and then they put those big storage areas like in the center, or like they think that the room is large enough to accommodate this big chest in the middle.
Right.
And I think it actually makes it smaller. And when sometimes I see those, they even feel smaller than 36 inches away from face to face, right?
I agree.
And I'm like, it's too tight. Like now it's like you're a mouse in a maze, right? And you're trying to get around all these components, and all you really were fixated on was the function and the storage space of everything that I need to put in here.
Right.
And I'm like, that was the mistake. You should have been focusing on the functionality of how do you navigate around this.
Because at the end of the day, the client's the one that's going to have to deal with it on a day-to-day basis. So if it's not convenient for them and it's more of a something on the back of their mind that they have to actually think about when they're operating, it's more of a hassle than it's worth, right?
How much are you getting clients asking you to incorporate, I guess, their jewelry into some of this stuff? Because it kind of makes sense that you'd have a pull-out.
Yeah, usually I'll have like a top drawer that's like a standard jewelry tray with dividers and stuff like that. Some clients will have like a jewelry tree that's on top of that drawer on the shelf itself. That's where we'll kind of usually incorporate like the glass behind it, so that way it just gives it a nicer look as a niche in that sense.
Yeah.
But usually those are the two applications that you'll usually incorporate jewelry.
Okay, so you tell us what's the best way to hang everything. So I guess jackets, men's shirts, women's dresses, coats, long coats, short coats, pants, sweaters, socks, ties. Like what should be hung, what should be folded, what should be trade, what should be... If
you're asking me personally,
I'm just curious.
I'd rather hang everything. I like to see, because I'm a bit lazy. I don't like to sit and fold and stuff like that. But sweaters, I agree, should be sweaters and maybe jeans, because jeans are bulky when you hang them. So I would say sweaters and jeans
fold them and put them on
the shelves.
Yeah.
And then everything else I would typically hang. That's just for my personal aspect, just for ease and convenience. But a lot of clients, they like to actual fold, so we'll accommodate more shelving space for them to actually make that possible. And then that way we'll just have a smaller leftover space for hanging space. And that way they can...
Do you get clients like they're trying to eliminate any other kind of pieces of furniture in the bedroom?
Yes, all the time.
They want to put all their clothing into the closet. They do not want a dresser to accommodate some of their clothing, right?
Not typically. They want the bedroom to be minimal as possible, least amount of furniture. But the Problem is with the size of the closets we're working with, typically it's not usually possible.
You can't fit everything. Yeah.
So they'll usually just try to maximize as much as we can with the closets we're working with, and then whatever's left over, maybe they can downsize with a smaller dresser, just so it's less footprint in the actual bedroom itself. But usually in the homes that we have, unless you're in custom homes or $1 million homes, you typically need to have an offset piece of furniture in the actual bedroom itself, right?
Almost for decorative purpose at that point, right?
Yeah.
It's not really a functional, right?
Exactly. And there's times too where they won't have enough actual storage in the closet itself, so we'll have to build an actual unit in the bedroom to accommodate the offset as well, right? Because again, if you have a 5-foot closet in the bedroom, there's only so much amount of storage that you can actually fit in there. So we'll do like a full length wardrobe unit with a bank of drawers beside it, and then they'll maybe mount the TV on top, just if they have a TV in the bedroom, so that way it still serves as a piece of furniture and you still have the cosmetic appeal of it, right?
You ever get because I guess as much as I gripe about kids having their own closet, whether it's a reach-in or whatever, his and hers, like it's one closet's for her, one closet's for him.
In masters, yeah. All the time. Yeah.
All the time,
yeah.
huh? Yeah. Are you making them both the same, or is he asking for one thing and she's asking for, like, style-wise?
It's usually the only differentiating factor is the lady will need the long hang section, right? So they'll need for their dresses, so we'll just accommodate a side
But they'll still go white shaker and go that route. He won't ask for something that's darker.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't, unless you're going like...
It's separate rooms.
If it's separate rooms, it makes sense. But if you're going like side by side in a
no, it's not like Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny and putting the tape down and separating one side.
You're in two different homes.
Yeah, exactly. That's your side, that's my side, right?
Right. Yeah.
No, that's just therapy, divorce, and stuff like that.
But typically, the clients will want to keep all the closets cohesive, all symmetrical, all the same, and then the master they'll maybe do a different color.
What
or
a
finish.
missed opportunity! I mean, I'm sure that if they've got kids, they probably want something colorful and vibrant in the closet. No.
Again, safe. Right, they want to be safe.
To resale?
Yeah, that's everything ties around, right? So,
would you do like some of those funky colors, like flat panel, funky colors?
I would entertain it, but I wouldn't recommend it
because you don't know who's going to move in here next.
Exactly. Like the safe colors, like I was mentioning, the light grays, the wood grains, and stuff like that. There's some finishes,
teals or glossy reds,
yeah, we have those finishes too, but I've never used them.
But that would be a good-looking closet.
Possibly, depending on the application. But again,
at one time, I pitched for a client a mudroom, and I wanted to build all the storage pieces.
Okay.
Actual high school lockers.
Nice.
And then I found a company that actually makes the lockers.
Right on.
And I was like, here, I'm presenting it. Here's your numbers. And then they were like keen. Then they lost interest. And then they wanted to like look like a high school kind of thing. And I was like, it's a functioning mudroom. Like you want to put, the kids were hockey players.
Hockey, I was about to say.
Yeah.
For
so I'm like, this all makes sense. Everything based on what you've told me, this makes sense. And never bid into it. And I was like, I still have the pamphlet. I still have the brochure of the lockers. And I was like, I got to put this in a house one day. Yeah, I think it's a clever idea.
It is, but they're again, it's probably they're scared to commit to it, right? Because they don't know how long their kids are going to be playing. And then
I'd put locks on it too, man.
It's true.
You're grounded. You're not playing this week, and you put a lock on it. You can't get to your gear now, right?
That's true. You can do that.
I don't know. I would have some fun if it's. But you know what's funny is that they're losing out on the closet with you, but then they're giving some sort of color components to their ensuites,
right?
Accent color tile or mosaic or some. If it's a girl's, it's going to be pinkish kind of thing or something like
or wall color or whatever.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, they'll
like
tie
that.
it in somewhere else.
But then when it comes to the closets, you just dismiss it. Why not have some fun in there as well too?
That's a good question. It would be nice to see it come to life and stuff like that. Because again, I'm tired of just seeing the plain white. Right? It's always good to have some different differentiating factors.
Do you know of Kickstarter?
Yeah.
I'm not on Kickstarter anymore. I was there on the early days of it when I was actually supporting regular folk that had great ideas and wanted to get it out there. And now you got all these celebrities that are on there asking for money for their projects. And I'm like, you guys have money. Why are you asking for money?
Right.
Well, there was one thing that I came across where this guy invented this thing called Frank.
Okay.
And he designed a hook that was in the shape of a rabbit's face with the two ears pointing up that were the hooks. And then the two screws that were holding it were his eyes. And then he put a little triangle for the nose, right?
Right.
So I bought like 4 of them. They were painted, I think it was like a teal or something like that.
Okay.
And I thought it was cool. And nobody wanted to entertained that idea, and I put it in. I was like, I bought them because I was interested. I invested in it, and then I put it in my own closet. And I was like, that's where I hung the belts and I hung ties. And
you're talking like individual hooks,
yeah,
and stuff like that. Yeah, that's clever. That's
but it was in
idea.
the shape of a rabbit's head, and it was called Frank.
Right.
And I thought that was a clever idea. And it had color, and I was like, okay, this makes sense to me.
Add some character to you.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. If a kid wants to go with some colorful cabinetry or face, or I'd do a pattern. Like, wouldn't you want to do like some sort of patterns? Or I guess nowadays you can get patterns and glue them on. You could stick them on or something like that.
Yeah, there's countless options available now in the market, right? There's like in the terms of characteristics, I've had some clients where they'll install wallpaper before I put the closet.
Yeah.
With the back exposed, so I'll just have the closet system installed, and then you'll see the wallpaper behind it.
Yeah.
So that adds some funky character to it as well, and then usually
Behind the shaker.
Well. Yeah.
So you got to open it up to see the actual interesting component of it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Is everybody asking for like it's all soft close now?
Everything. It's a standard. I mean,
don't make
my
it.
industry standard, I wouldn't do
Yeah.
any regular, right? Because you're always already paying for a custom closet. You might as well just get what you can. I don't even offer regular.
I mean, at the
regular
price
tracks.
point, yeah. I mean, it's just
the price point is there's very minimal difference in terms of going with soft close. So might as well, right?
And then I guess you haven't been in the business long enough that you have to start servicing, or do you have to start going back and?
I've had some service calls, just little small things. They want to change stuff around,
stuff like that. Yeah,
wear and tear. Like
not
in
really.
that sense, not really. No. I really haven't had any issues.
But coming back to actually change certain...
Yeah, if they want to change the configuration, move something around, ask for a couple extra shelves, I'll take care of that because, again, that's no concern for me. I'd rather just make sure they're happy. And
so where do you see the business, man? Where do you want to take the business? Ideally, what's your plan?
I'm happy where I am now because I like to keep that relationship with the clients. At some point, I'll have someone working under me just to start them out training and get them installing. And then that way, maybe I'll at some point have a small team, maybe 2 guys running out doing the jobs, and then I'll kind of just be doing the quotes, estimates, and then the aftercare too, just after the job's done, just the customer service aspect. And that way, kind of get off the tools and give my body a bit of a rest. Because again, my knees are starting to act up. So at some point,
yeah, because there's drawers and cabinets at the bottom.
Exactly. You're on your knees quite a bit, and you got to get up and down. So it takes a toll, but it's not as bad as flooring. That's what I would say.
No, flooring you're on the whole time.
Yeah.
Your clientele, are we talking young? Mostly young people are reaching out to you?
Not necessarily. I would say always usually over 40. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they just want to organize their lives.
Exactly. Yeah. It's usually the wives that are looking for the solution because they're the ones that look for the storage.
Because the guys have the organized chaos. They know exactly where everything's at.
Exactly.
They just got to lift all this to get to that. I know how that works.
It's funny how it works too because you'll know exactly where it is and it'll be buried underneath something.
But if their significant other moves it, then they're lost.
Yeah, they won't.
It's like they have half the map at that point.
Exactly.
And they're like, "Why'd you move it? I knew exactly where it was."
But usually the husbands will see in the end where the wife's vision was and how much ease of day-to-day life it is, inconvenience in that aspect because you're not walking into chaos, right?
Yeah.
So it's a bit more organized. You can maintain that afterwards because usually clients will purge before we come in and then put everything back into the closet.
That's a good point, man. Clients should purge.
Exactly. Years go by and they'll have stuff buried at the back of the closet that they've never seen.
And decades and styles go by.
Exactly.
And there's certain things you should let go, but just don't tell me that because I got certain jackets from my younger years that I'm not going to let go.
Sentimental. Yeah.
Well, it's not sentimental. It's just like that's the style was then, and maybe I'm getting old enough that I want that style to come back one day.
It will.
Nobody wears black leather jackets anymore. Long coat, 3/4.
Surprisingly, yeah. Now that you bring it up, I've never seen them around.
Well, I've got a very nice one, so it's just like I'm waiting for it to come back.
I find that the fashion trends always kind of repeat itself. So you hang on to it, your day will come.
I got like your age people coming by, like friends that I know in the industry, and they're like, when did you ever wear this? I was like, before you were born. So shut up, man. Just accept it. Like this was cool shit back then. It will be cool shit one day again. Okay,
for sure.
Leave it at that. You're not gonna see this at Value Village and someone buying $50 for it.
Right.
But yeah, no, I guess purging is smart to educate how do they treat that? Like, how do they receive that quest from you? Like that question to ask, you're going to have to get rid of some stuff here. Are they usually open to it?
Yeah, they're usually open. It doesn't, because it was on the back of their mind usually from beforehand. So that way it kind of forces them to do it themselves, right? Because everything has to come in the closet anyways. So once they're putting it back in, they realize, well, why do I still have this thing? And then they'll go to Goodwill, donate it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
pass it on, and that way it just gives them more space to renew their wardrobe, right? So
The all-new Kohler home generator. The most powerful. The most durable. The most customizable. And the quietest home generator you can buy. When it counts, count on Kohler.
helps out hand in hand.
You gonna get into garages?
Garages, I would like to entertain one day. You got to use a specific kind of material because of the
outdoor.
climates.
Yeah.
But I know that it's quite expensive because it's like a resin. So I've heard from another dealer that I work with that it's shocking when they tell their clients the price of it, because
It's expensive.
our climate changes so often. So you got to make sure you put something durable, so that way it's not expanding and contracting in the summer and the winter weathers. So I would like to entertain it one day and then see how it works.
I did it about maybe, I'm going to say 12 for myself. I did it 12, 13 years ago. I used the whole Gladiator line.
Right. They use like the stainless steel.
Yeah. I wanted steel, and it's not as functional regarding where to place shelves and stuff. Like, it's pretty fixed at that point. But I did like that it was keyed. I liked that it was metal. It was coated metal. I ended up making a lot of the wood countertops myself.
Yep.
Just in the same vein, same style as their stuff. The only thing that I guess the downside of theirs is that they have flexible feet.
Okay.
You could just thread them, because every garage is not going to be level. It's going to be sloped, right?
Right.
And so you can do that. And all I see now is that there's a little bit of rust forming, but that's because of the winter months. You get salt and you get kind of stuff getting into the car or into the garage, and your car comes into the garage. So now you get water, salt water. And so that's just the only thing that's been happening to it. But other than that, still swinging, still closing, still there's a few scratches here and there, but very, very durable.
Very durable. Yep.
Yeah.
You can throw your tools in there, no worries at all. That's what it's usually meant for.
Right?
Yeah,
so it works. But I think that it makes sense for you almost naturally to get into garages as well, right? It's just about organizing stuff, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
For the clients that want to be handymen, I guess.
I agree.
They want to park all their Ryobi tools in safe places, right?
Get the nice slat walls with the hooks and attachments for all your lawn care and stuff like that. Yeah.
I like seeing organized garages. I hate seeing hoarded garages, man.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
Like where they have that tunnel, like it's
the one little walk space.
Yeah, the one little walk space, and you start wondering, why don't you just like purge this thing, man?
Right.
Nothing you can let go of, eh?
Yeah, nothing surprises me anymore, because I've seen the garages just packed to the ceiling with just boxes and bins and stuff like that. And then in the winter months, like now, I need somewhere to cut, right? I can't cut outside, and then what am I going to do? So you get those tight situations where maybe you'll have to take your rips to the shop and then come back, and then there's extra travel time and stuff like that, because I can't be cutting outside.
I would just stand there going, you got a match?
Set it all up.
Just light it up, man, and just get it out of there.
That's
no,
true.
I don't know why homeowners just do that.
They can't. They're too attached, right? They don't want to let anything
Same
go.
reason the public storage business is just
booming,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's like, so you clear the garage and you park it into a public storage.
And then they never go and check up on it, look at it, because they don't need anything that's in there. It's just accruing the fees for no reason.
Then it becomes an episode of Storage Wars or whatever, and people discovering what they
Find
found.
some vintage items.
Look at this jacket I found here, man.
From Manny.
No, you're never going to be in a Storage Wars, man. What else you want to share, Patrick? What else do I want to know about all these closets and stuff? You ever get into funkiness? I guess they're asking, no stone, eh?
No, not typically, no. I'll usually do, I've done a couple wet bars, and I'll do some two fully length units beside. I've done one recently.
A closet alcoholic? Like, what's going on here?
Not in the actual closet itself. This is in a part of like diner room.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we'll have two full length units. So I did a nice like a matte black finish on it, and then two full floating units and with the doors in between.
Put that in a closet, man. Matte black.
Yeah,
Doesn't that look nice?
It would look beautiful. I believe you. Yep.
No handles. Push.
Just push touch. Yep.
With accent lighting.
Yep. Just need the right house for it, and then it can come together.
Or even you can go like a square, whatever the perimeter shape of the closet is, an LED track into the drywall.
Right. Yep. That'll look beautiful. Come together.
1,000 times better than white shaker, in my opinion. But
of course. Yeah.
No, I know. No, that would work sell wise.
I think so too. That would be beautiful.
It'd be a little darker, but you'd have to compensate the light.
You'd have to
bring in
more light to
that's all. Just more light.
Exactly.
Because it will be a little dark, right?
Right. But again, you can play with it.
So you did the bar that way? Okay,
and
that's
then
cool.
they had someone in that came in after. They did like a stone back in between the floating units and then below. So it came out beautiful. So that way, and then the countertop as well, right? So that's where we'll kind of tie in different elements. But I don't supply the stone myself. They'll usually have their own installer to come afterwards.
No, it makes sense, but at least you're off, and you're. I like that you're giving them 3D SketchUp kind of markups so they can see it, right?
It helps, yeah. A lot. They can't visualize it from me explaining, and then based on my rough sketches, it can only show so much, right? That way, it gives them a visual aspect, different angles of how the closet would come out, and then it helps out, I believe.
Who are you dealing with, Richelieu?
I do on a case by case basis.
Okay.
There's only a limited, like specialty stuff that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah,
you'd be restricted to Richelieu, but they come in handy. Yeah, I use them quite often.
It was funny how I built a headboard, and I wanted to put drawers in it, so I made it 6 inches deep.
Okay.
And I discovered that there was actual tracks that are 6 inches.
Oh, for
that
sure.
That was the smallest track that you can get
available. Yeah,
available, and then that worked. And then there was another job. They wanted me to pull out as far as possible. Ended up getting 36 inch. Yeah, 36 inch was the max.
Right.
And it had to be the upgraded one because of the weight. So it was heavy. It was probably about 2.5 high, I think.
Right.
3/4. You know how the standard's usually 10 mil, half inch, whatever it is.
Right
but yeah, that was the longest that I ever saw was 3 feet.
Wow.
You ever seen longer than that?
I haven't seen. The max I've used is 24. I haven't used anything bigger than that, just because the standard depth for a closet itself, right?
It's 24. It makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's no reason to make it deeper than that, even the pull-out drawers.
The only where you gain is like the drawers and the shelving. The rod still stays in the same place, right? So it's just extra material for usually no reason. It's just if they want to have back-to-back storage, and like the shelving section is where it would help them out. But again, it takes up a lot more space of the room. So it has to accommodate your floor plan of the home as well.
Is it worth, you tell me, to do the bottom portion, the pullouts, deeper, and then still keep the upper with the rods?
The thing 24? Is, it gets a bit tricky to access, right? Because then you gotta, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a kitchen where you have the base units bumping out, and then the uppers are only 12 inches deep. So the top higher shelves are a bit difficult to reach in that sense without getting a ladder, but it can definitely be a possibility. Like I've done a few mudrooms is what I'll do, that exact kind of idea.
Yeah.
Where we'll have a deeper base cabinet, a little ledge for you to sit on, and then cabinetry kind of recessed in, so that way.
But everybody does that if you think about it. So I was like, my first thought was your uppers are 24. I would make the lowers 36.
Right.
And then you have more pull-out space, right?
Yep.
But then now you got to reach another 24 extra or 12 extra to reach to get in there.
Exactly.
But everybody does that in kitchens right now with the counter being at 24 and then the uppers being at
14.
12.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly. So it's the same kind of premise.
So it kind of works, but I guess would it be harder to get the clothing because now you have to get to the middle of the upper.
Right.
Versus, I guess, with kitchen, I don't know.
Because kitchen stuff is usually more towards the front,
whereas
the rod is set back, right? So you still got to go another 11 inches just to get onto the rod itself. But it can work. I could see it working out. It just depends on the demands of the client, right?
See, I'm almost of the mindset that, like, I don't like uppers in kitchens either, right?
Okay.
Because I think that everything that you pull out of an upper is stuff that you use on a daily.
Right.
So the only argument that they have now is that I'm going to see it if it's ever dirty. Well, then keep your house clean, right? So keep everything clean.
True.
But with a closet, I still like the idea of having doors in front of things. So then it's covering everything. You just don't want to see a bunch of garments. It's not like you're walking into a retail store and see all the garments on display at that point.
And you don't have to worry about it always being neat and
perfectly
tidy
folded or hung. Hung, all that. Like, yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I like the idea of having a staggered step. Having more space on the bottom for pullouts. So you get more space to fold pants, sweaters.
That's true. That's good. Something to consider. Yeah.
You could probably fit, if you get sweaters, like, I find this shit fascinating, man. If you get sweaters like you fold it 12 inches, you can get 3 rows of sweaters now on one drawer instead of 2 rows.
Right. That's true.
So it kind of makes more sense, right?
That's something I'll think about and play around with. Maybe I'm
wondering if it makes sense in that scenario that I gave you earlier about how the bench in the middle, you don't do that. You make the openings slightly smaller and you make the bottoms come out 12 inches on both sides. And so now it's not 8 feet open wide space. It's 6 feet open wide space.
Right.
Which feels a lot more comfortable, and there's nothing in the middle, but now you got no place to sit down. But you could always park that, whatever that furniture is called, at the end of a bed. You know, sometimes people put chairs at the end of the bed.
Kind of like an ottoman or
Something like that.
Yeah, and then
You
just
can probably
move it
walk there and sit there.
Throw your clothes down, whatever it is. Yeah, that's true.
There's lots of options when it comes to closets.
It's endless. Yeah.
You should probably start doing something like West Coast Choppers, where he'll paint his bikes any color as long as it's black. You'll build any closet as long as it's not white.
I gotta have my guidelines to follow. Yeah,
as long as it's not white. No, you can't. You'll run out. You'll want nobody will hire you, man, if you don't do anything outside of white shaker, right?
That's true.
That's the go-to one.
Yeah, that's
you
90% of the jobs is white shaker.
And you're painting it.
Typically, I'll do a thermofoil finish.
Sure, okay.
I'll have some clients that would prefer an exterior of paint to finish, and we can definitely do that as well.
Because they're probably asking for Chantilly lace to paint to match, eh?
Yeah, you know too. All the wall colors are Chantilly.
I know
they want it all to go together.
I know this shit, man. What else you want to share, man? Anything else? I think we covered a shitload.
Yeah, I think we did too.
I don't know. Good on you, man. I wish you all the success. And I mean, keep on growing the business and get more clients. And
appreciate everything. Yeah.
Word of mouth. I love word of mouth because that means you're doing a good job on this one and keeps on moving.
Exactly. And you're already backed, right? So your work is already shown. They can go have a physical look at it and see what they're to expect. Because I've heard a lot of my clients, they'll source a contractor. There's a lot of shady contractors out there nowadays that they'll come work for a few days, not show up afterwards. So that way you're already vetted, right? So it kind of makes it easier on the client as well. So you're not trying to just, they don't have to kind of see through you kind of idea. They already know you're transparent, right? So that way it just creates that less risk factor involved. So I like to create a referral-based program.
Here's a few more questions for you. If it was a log cabin home, you can't put white shaker in the closets there.
No, you would have to tie in some wood grain to go with the
ultra
fit of the home.
Minimalistic contemporary home.
Right.
Would it still be white shaker?
No, I don't think so. Because even the kitchens, you'll see it's more...
It's contemporary. It's flat panel, some sort of material or something, right?
Yeah, you'll see like farmhouse vibe going on, right? So
see that too.
Where it won't fit in like a city home. So there's different applications for different scenarios, right? So I wouldn't necessarily put like you were saying, a white shaker in like a cottage in Muskoka or something like that.
Yeah.
You definitely tie in different elements, so that way it just fits the overall vibe, right?
Yeah. Like I could see, man, like a contemporary home with ACM on the exterior cladding. I would start messing around with some sort of metal components in the closet,
right?
Metal face cabinetry. Like I would mess around with that kind of stuff, right? It wouldn't sound metal when it closes, but it would have that metal feel to it.
Mind you, we do have thermofoil finishes that are like a stainless finish to it, and like concrete and stuff like that. So there's different aspects. Yeah, without actual having the real material, you can achieve that look.
See, the concrete would be appealing too as well.
I think so too. Yeah, I haven't used it yet, but I could see it coming together.
But not in a shaker, is it? Is it flat panel concrete?
We can do flat panel. Yeah.
But you could do it in shaker as well too?
We can, but I wouldn't. It's too busy. You gotta pick one or the other.
Yeah,
right?
I would do a flat panel at that point.
Yeah. Any wood grain, I wouldn't do profile on it, just flat panel, because you're doing too much. Right?
Yeah.
You want it to just be one or the other, and then that way it looks sleek, and you're not doing too many lines, and it's just too much going on, in my opinion.
Majority of people don't want handles, right?
They do.
They do want handles.
Yeah. Depending on what it is. If it's a high traffic area, they'll want push lash just because it's more sleek and modern. Yeah. But in it's more functionality, because with the touch latch, you got to worry about fingerprints, is what I always got to tell my clients too, because you're going to be cleaning quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then because there's always oil on natural oils and stuff like that. So if you have kids, it's something to consider as well, right? But usually I would definitely do just like even edge pulls are a bit more sleek than just a full handle itself, because the edge pull just kind of curves around the edge of it.
It goes part of the design.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I just never liked the really large protruding standard hooked on handles that stainless steel, whatever.
Right.
And plus the other thing is, I guess you should also client wise, whatever your doorknobs finish are.
Same finish on the hardware. Yeah. Yeah. You got to always tie in the elements of the home.
It's still got to work, right?
Exactly. Like if you have matte black hardware on your interior doors, you got to match it with.
You got stainless steel on the inside, or white or whatever like that, right? Yeah.
Unless you're planning to change one or the other at some point, I would just try to keep everything the same.
I think clients are still getting over the whole hump of having the hinges match the hardware on the door. That's got to match too. And same doorstop.
Right.
right? It should all match, right? Like it should all get together. So same with the closet. If you open it up, it should match.
Yep, like the rods and everything. On
Everything,
the closets.
exactly. And that's a good point. That's a great point because now they're offering rods in all different colors, right?
Exactly.
So you can get them in all. As far as I know, they all kinds of finishes.
Satin, nickel, chrome, matte
Yeah.
black,
White, matte black, yeah,
brass.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of different finishes. I find the problem is if you're using the metal hangers, they tend to scratch the finish on it. So that's one thing to consider as well, right? Because once you're sliding stuff around, it tends to scratch. So that's just something I let my clients know as well. So unless you're using like a plastic hanger, there's not really a way to avoid that. That's the issue.
I've yet to meet a woman that wants a plastic hanger.
I know. It's always the velvet with the metal hook.
Yeah.
Always, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, yeah. The plastic hangers are they're mismatched and they look clunky. So
then they don't really hold things properly, and when you do put certain items on them,
slide off. Yeah.
Then you get into the TikTok videos of guys telling you how things should be folded, and you're like, dude, I don't have that time, man. I do not have that time, man.
Yeah, not enough time in the day. Yeah.
Are you selling hangers as well too, or are you recommending hangers?
I just recommend Costco has a 50 pack. I'll just recommend the clients just
Wood ones?
No, the velvet.
The velvet ones.
Yeah, typically I'll recommend those. But the wood ones are nice, but they're pricey. That's the thing. I'll usually recommend those for suits or jackets or stuff like that.
Yeah.
They'll usually be a good hand in hand in that situation.
All right, Patrick. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to share? No, I think that's it, man.
Yeah, I think we covered quite a bit.
Patrick Johnson, YourCloset.ca, 647-478-8908. Reach him as info@YourCloset.ca and all over social media at YourCloset.ca on IG, www.facebook.com/YourCloset.ca, and then on TikTok, YourCloset.ca. You ready for the 12 questions?
Let's do it.
Let's do this. What's your favorite construction word?
All good. Everything goes to plan. No problems.
What's your least favorite tool?
Least favorite tool would be I'd say an angle grinder. I hate using those. Sometimes you have to cut off rod.
Yeah.
So I just hate using them because of all the sparks and the noise and just
Get a metal chop saw.
That's true. Sometimes you got to cut just one or two rods though, so to carry that metal chop saw is not usually really worth it. So I usually have just a grinder in the van to carry around.
What tools what color? Wait,
Makita.
Yeah, that makes. What's your background?
My background, like nationality.
Yeah.
So my dad's from Grenada, and then my mom's Indian and white. So it's an interesting mix.
She got good food all over.
Oh yeah.
What construction sound do you love?
Do I love pin nailer?
It is a gentler sound, eh?
It is, yeah. It's kind of, it's weird to describe. It's fulfilling, right? It's satisfying, right? You just hear the.
It's almost. Tip,
yep.
Tip. Yeah, it's really. Which pilling it? I've got a Grex, and everyone busts my balls about my Grex, but I like it.
Do you? Yeah.
I like it.
And it's okay.
But I don't use it to the point that professionals use it. I use it to the point of DIYs use it.
Right. So it's not getting heavy use on a day-to-day basis. Yeah.
I've got the 23 gauge 2-inch Grex pin nailer.
Nice.
And it's kind of, I would say, my favorite nailer.
Okay.
2-inch pinless.
Right on.
Headless, whatever. Pin nailer, right?
Right.
So what are you using?
I typically stick with a brad nail and pin nailer DeWalt.
Yeah.
I usually run with, yeah.
Battery?
Yep. All battery now. Because I'm not using it heavy like for a trim guy.
Yeah.
So I'll just have a couple pins I got to throw in.
It makes more sense in your situation instead of bringing in even a small compressor and then hose. It makes more sense.
That kind of goes in line with one of the next questions you have is the compressor is the least favorite noise.
Oh, the noise. Yeah, okay.
Especially the old school.
So what's your favorite beverage first?
Beverage? I'd say iced tea, Nestea.
What turns you on and off in construction?
Turns me on is everything going to plan, no hiccups, headaches, and the customer's happy at the end of the day. And what turns me off is something's not ready for me. So,
you're always called in before it's ready, yeah?
Yeah, because what happens is if I'm dealing with a client and not the contractor itself, the contractor is supposed to have a closet prepped and painted beforehand because I'm not communicating with them directly. So there'll be times I'll go to the house on installation day and I'm communicating with the client itself. They'll say, okay, everything's ready to go. I'll come. The closets are still in and installed. So I just have to basically deliver and come back whenever they're done, right? So
Did they leave a welcome to construction card for you there? They probably did, huh?
But again, you got to have patience, right? Because that's where it kind of comes in line.
But also,
Things
you're
happen.
running a business and you've got schedules,
Guidelines, schedules.
and you've got
you gotta follow.
guys, and you're already planning for the next week, next day, whatever.
Exactly.
And you've allocated this day to pull off this job.
So that's where, unfortunately, if it comes to that point, we'll have to reschedule, and then I kind of get tense vibes from the clients afterwards because I'm kind of on the hook. But again, it's a chain reaction, right? So that's kind of where it comes down to. It's unfortunate. Yeah.
What's your favorite curse word? You got 2 different backgrounds that are very colorful. They have all kinds of.
I just say shit.
Just say shit.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
What's your favorite vehicle in the entire world?
Favorite vehicle. It's kind of more modest, but I'd say Audi RS3. I have a Volkswagen now, so that would be the next in line.
Yeah.
It's just something achievable, not too high end up there. And stuff like that. So once I get to that point, create your next goal and go from there, right?
I will say that Audi's got like Quattro.
Yep.
Hands down, I think best system out there for Canadian winters.
Of course.
Far better than 4MATIC, in my opinion.
Right.
But Audi's customer service absolutely sucks.
Really?
That's just... I've
have Audi yourself?
I've owned
or?
one time, and I just had enough of their customer service.
That was enough.
And I was just like, you guys realize I'm never going to even touch another Audi for the... And they didn't care. So I was like, oh, yeah, see you later.
That's unfortunate.
Gone. But I do say a Quattro is like... It's nice to get on the highway in winter and go 200 clicks and not feel the car slide.
Yeah, one of my clients have said that too. He has a Q5 and he just plows through and people are just
It
barely
sticks
getting
like
by.
glue, man.
Yeah.
I just don't get what the technology is, but it sticks like glue.
Right.
But their customer service sucks. What do you miss from your childhood?
Friends.
Yeah, that's a good one.
When you become self-employed, you sacrifice, right? Because a lot of your social interactions and stuff goes down the hill. Because you're always on the back of your mind is just always work. What do I need for this job? What do I need for that job? So it's hard to stay connected with your old school friends and stuff like that.
True.
Because you're kind of on 2 different paths. And then again, people's lives, you grow and you grow. Ideally, you'd want to grow together, but you kind of grow apart once you start building families, right?
That's like when you're younger, friends is just like stepbrothers, Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly.
Exactly.
Did we just become friends? Like, it just simplest things made you guys friends, man.
Right. You just click, right? That's all it is.
And unfortunately, the simplest things also
tear you apart. Yeah.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt one day?
I would say electrical.
You want to get into electrical?
I would try it out, yeah.
Okay. It's good. What profession would you not like to do?
Roofing. Would not want to be a roofer.
It's a hard one. I know it's not on my list at all.
Not at all.
Last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at those pearly gates?
You did good. Great job.
Thanks, Patrick. Thanks for
Appreciate
reaching out, coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
I know everyone's
Appreciate it,
busy
man.
and holidays, and everybody will listen to this in January, but I mean, I don't hide the fact that we record before. We don't go live just yet, but
it's all good.
No, it's good to meet. It's great to meet you, and keep on doing some good work, man.
Thank you. Appreciate the
Building
time,
the
man.
team, right? So,
Happy holidays.
happy holidays too. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Right here. Thanks, Angela.